try this: how to use gratitude to feel happier and improve your relationships. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to rush through life without stopping to appreciate what's already good? We wake up thinking about what's missing, what's stressful, what's disappointing, and by the end of the day we wonder why we feel drained, disconnected, or unhappy. But here's the truth: your happiness isn't hiding in something big you're waiting for. It's hiding in the small things you keep overlooking. Today, I want to show you a simple shift, one you can try right now, that can transform the way you think, the way you feel, and even the way you connect with the people you love. It's called gratitude, but not the cliché kind. This is gratitude as a strategy, gratitude as a mood shifter, gratitude as a relationship builder. And once you understand how powerful it really is, you'll realize you've had the tool to feel happier and more fulfilled this entire time. You just weren't using it. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to use gratitude to lift your mind, soften your heart, and strengthen your relationships starting today. Gratitude as a daily mindset reset. How small moments can transform your emotional world. Gratitude is more than a habit. It is a daily reset button for your mind, your emotions, and the way you interpret your life. Most people imagine gratitude as something soft or sentimental, something you acknowledge only when something big happens. But the real power of gratitude lies in its subtlety. It lives in the quiet moments you barely notice: the warmth of sunlight through your window, the softness of your pillow after a long day, the message someone sent to check on you, or even the fact that you made it through a difficult moment you didn't think you could handle. Gratitude is not about the absence of problems. It's about the presence of perspective. It teaches you to step outside the noise and reconnect with what is stable, what is supportive, and what is already working in your life. And when you start paying attention to those things, even in small doses, everything begins to feel lighter and more manageable. The truth is, your mind is naturally wired to focus on what's wrong. This is a survival mechanism. Your brain is designed to scan for danger, fix problems, and prepare for the worst. That might keep you alive, but it doesn't necessarily make you happy. Gratitude interrupts this default setting. It gently shifts your attention away from fear, scarcity, or frustration, and reminds you that life also contains beauty, support, opportunity, and progress. Even if your day is chaotic, even if you're dealing with stress, even if things are not perfect, gratitude gives your brain a moment of peace, and those moments accumulate. Over time, they build a new mental pattern where your first instinct is not to panic or complain, but to observe, understand, and appreciate. That shift alone can change the entire emotional tone of your life. One of the biggest misconceptions about gratitude is the idea that you should only practice it when you feel grateful. But true gratitude is not emotional first. It is intentional. It is a decision you make, especially on the days you don't feel like it. When you intentionally choose gratitude, even in a small way, your brain releases calming chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. These chemicals improve your mood, lower anxiety, increase emotional resilience, and help you feel more grounded. Think of gratitude as a mental anchor. When life feels like it's pulling you everywhere, gratitude pulls you back to center. It doesn't solve everything, but it makes everything easier to handle. And sometimes that's all you really need. A little more strength, a little more clarity, a little more calm. Another beautiful thing about gratitude is how it changes the way you interpret your own life story. When you start paying attention to what's working, you begin to recognize your own growth. You see how far you've come, how many challenges you've survived, how many small wins you dismissed because you were focused only on the next goal. Gratitude slows you down long enough to acknowledge progress. It helps you build self-respect because you finally see yourself not just as someone struggling, but as someone who is growing, learning, and evolving. This shift in self-perception is powerful. When you appreciate your own efforts, you stop chasing external validation. You stop feeling like you're behind. You start trusting your own journey again. Gratitude also improves emotional regulation. When you're overwhelmed, stressed, or disappointed, gratitude acts as a counterweight. It doesn't erase the negative emotion, it balances it. Instead of drowning in frustration, you begin to see the full picture. You recognize that, yes, things may be hard, but not everything is hard. Yes, you may be dealing with pain, but there is still support, still strength, still hope. This ability to hold both the positive and negative at the same time is emotional maturity. Gratitude teaches you that you can feel hurt and still be grateful. You can feel stressed and still see what's good. You can feel uncertain and still appreciate what's stable. This is the emotional flexibility that leads to long-term happiness. When gratitude becomes a mindset rather than an occasional activity, it also helps you respond differently to challenges. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you begin to look for hidden lessons, opportunities, or reminders of resilience. You start recognizing that every difficult chapter you've survived has also given you wisdom, strength, or clarity you didn't have before. Gratitude helps you transform upsets into insights. It doesn't deny your pain. It gives your pain a purpose. It makes you stronger without making you numb. It allows you to move forward without carrying bitterness. But perhaps the most life-changing aspect of gratitude is how it impacts your relationships. When you adopt a grateful mindset, you naturally become less reactive, less defensive, and less focused on what's lacking. You begin to notice the small ways people show care, even if they're imperfect. You become better at acknowledging effort instead of criticizing what falls short. You start expressing appreciation more often, and that appreciation creates safety, warmth, and trust in your connections. People open up more when they feel valued. Conversations deepen, conflicts soften. Gratitude turns relationships from transactional to meaningful. It replaces tension with connection and replaces expectation with appreciation. Ultimately, gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing not to let what's wrong blind you to what's right. It is about training your mind to look for light, even when the world feels dim. And when you practice this consistently, not once a month, not only when life feels good, but daily, you build a mindset that protects your happiness no matter what is happening around you. You build emotional stability, stronger relationships, a calmer heart, and a clearer mind. Gratitude becomes the foundation you walk on. It becomes the way you breathe through stress, the way you connect with others, and the way you uplift yourself without depending on external circumstances. Gratitude is small, but it is powerful. And when practiced daily, it can truly reshape your entire emotional world. The emotional power of expressing gratitude. How simple words can deepen connection and transform relationships. Gratitude is not only something you feel, it is something you express. And when you learn how to express gratitude intentionally, honestly, and consistently, your relationships shift in ways that feel almost magical. People often underestimate how powerful their words are, especially when it comes to appreciation. We assume others know how much we value them. We assume our love, respect, or care is obvious. But the truth is, people rarely feel appreciated unless it is spoken, shown, or acknowledged. Emotional connection doesn't grow from assumptions. It grows from communication. And gratitude is the purest, simplest, yet most transformative form of communication you can offer. When you express gratitude to someone, you are telling them, I see you. I notice what you do. You matter to me. And those three unspoken messages can change the emotional atmosphere of any relationship. Romantic, family, friendships, or even work. One of the deepest human needs is the need to feel valued. People want to know they make a difference. They want to feel like their presence matters. They want to feel seen. When you thank someone sincerely, not for grand gestures, but for the small, everyday things, you fulfill that emotional need. And when people feel valued, they become more open, more cooperative, more affectionate, and more willing to invest in the relationship. Gratitude makes people feel emotionally safe, and emotional safety is the foundation of trust. Without trust, relationships feel tense, shallow, or unpredictable. But with gratitude, walls come down, hearts soften, conversations deepen. The entire dynamic shifts from surviving each other to supporting each other. What makes expressing gratitude so impactful is that it shifts the focus from what's missing to what's present. Many relationships start breaking down, not because of major betrayals, but because people stop noticing each other's efforts. they get used to each other. They take things for granted. They focus on disappointments, mistakes, imperfections, or unmet expectations. Gratitude interrupts this slow emotional erosion. It shines a light on the good. It reminds you that even if a relationship is not perfect, and none are, there is still love, effort, and positive intention worth acknowledging. When you start expressing appreciation regularly, you stop keeping score of flaws. You stop overanalyzing. You stop nitpicking. You become more understanding, more patient, and more emotionally generous. This doesn't just improve how others feel. It improves how you feel in the relationship. There is a powerful psychological effect behind this. What you focus on grows. When you focus on frustration, frustration increases. When you focus on what irritates you, irritation takes over. But when you focus on what you appreciate, appreciation expands. The more you express gratitude, the more grateful you feel. And the more grateful you feel, the happier and more connected you become. This creates a positive emotional cycle. You express gratitude, the relationship improves, you feel more appreciated, you express gratitude again. Over time, this cycle strengthens the bond in ways that arguments, lectures, or expectations never could. Expressing gratitude also helps you manage conflict more gracefully. When tension arises, gratitude gives you perspective. Instead of immediately reacting with blame or defensiveness, you remember the good. You remember the person's effort, support, or positive qualities. This softens your response, making room for compassion instead of confrontation. It doesn't mean ignoring the issue. It means approaching it with a calmer heart. When you bring gratitude into difficult conversations, the other person feels respected instead of attacked. They become more open to listening, more willing to reflect, and more capable of owning their part. Gratitude turns conflict into collaboration by reminding both people that the relationship itself is worth protecting. Another powerful effect of expressing gratitude is how it deepens emotional intimacy. Intimacy isn't created from physical closeness alone. It is created through emotional vulnerability, the willingness to share how you feel. When you express gratitude, you are opening your heart. You are letting the other person know what touches you, what matters to you, and what you cherish. This vulnerability creates deeper emotional connection because gratitude is essentially a form of emotional honesty. It tells the other person, "You impact me in a positive way," and that kind of transparency builds closeness. Even a simple sentence like, "I appreciate the way you always listen to me," can create a moment of connection more powerful than hours of shallow conversation. Expressing gratitude also teaches you humility, not weakness, but emotional maturity. It teaches you that love isn't about being right, it's about recognizing value. It shows that you're able to appreciate someone without needing them to be perfect. Relationships thrive not when people are flawless, but when people feel acknowledged. Gratitude reminds you that every person in your life is giving in their own way, even if their way is different from yours. It helps you see people through a compassionate lens instead of a critical one. And when someone feels appreciated for who they are, not just what they do, they bloom emotionally. They become their best selves in your presence. There is also something deeply healing about expressing gratitude after emotional wounds or misunderstandings. It signals a willingness to move forward. It tells the other person, "Even though we've had challenges, I still value what is good between us." Gratitude doesn't erase hurt, but it creates emotional openings where forgiveness, communication, and healing can enter. It acts like emotional glue, strengthening the bond after it has been stretched or strained. Sometimes, a simple acknowledgement like, "Thank you for sticking with me through that rough moment," can soften resentment more effectively than any apology. But the fullest transformation happens when gratitude becomes a consistent practice rather than a rare moment. It becomes part of your language, your presence, and your emotional identity. You start noticing opportunities to express appreciation naturally, not because you should, but because your heart wants to. The more you express gratitude, the more connected you feel. The more connected you feel, the more emotionally fulfilling your relationships become. In this way, gratitude becomes a bridge, one that takes you from distance to closeness, from tension to trust, and from ordinary interactions to meaningful bonds. In the end, expressing gratitude is not about perfect relationships. It's about richer connections. It's about choosing to see and appreciate the good, even when life is imperfect. It's about using your words to uplift instead of criticize, to recognize instead of overlook, to connect instead of distance. Gratitude is not just a gesture, it is a gift, one that strengthens the soul of every relationship it touches. When practiced sincerely and consistently, it has the power to transform not only how others feel about you, but how you feel about the people in your life. And that transformation is what turns relationships from ordinary to extraordinary. How gratitude strengthens your mental and emotional health. The hidden therapy you can practice anytime. Gratitude is often seen as something sweet, simple, or nice to do. But what most people don't realize is that it is one of the most powerful forms of emotional self-care you can practice. It is like a form of daily therapy that doesn't require an appointment, a long session, or anyone else's involvement. Gratitude works quietly, but its impact on your mental and emotional health is profound. At its core, gratitude shifts the way your mind interprets the world. Instead of constantly scanning for problems, threats, or disappointments, which is what the human brain is naturally wired to do, gratitude teaches your mind to notice what is supporting you, what is working, and what is worth appreciating. This mental shift doesn't just make you happier, it strengthens your emotional resilience, regulates your stress levels, and creates a sense of inner balance that becomes deeply stabilizing over time. The human brain has what psychologists call a negativity bias. This means your mind pays more attention to negative experiences than positive ones. It is an old survival mechanism designed to keep you alert to danger. But in everyday life, this bias becomes harmful. It pulls your attention towards stress, insecurities, frustrations, and fears while ignoring even the small moments of joy, beauty, and connection that are happening around you every day. Gratitude interrupts this bias. It forces your brain to stop scrolling through everything that's going wrong and instead acknowledge something that is going right. And the moment you do that, your emotional state begins to soften. You feel less overwhelmed. You breathe a little deeper. You think a little clearer. Gratitude doesn't erase the challenges in your life, but it prevents your mind from drowning in them. One of the greatest mental health benefits of gratitude is how it regulates stress. When you practice gratitude, your brain releases calming neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, which naturally relax your nervous system. These chemicals are the same ones responsible for feelings of safety, connection, pleasure, and peace. They slow down the fight or flight response that keeps you anxious or tense. They help you sleep better, think more clearly, and recover faster from emotional overwhelm. Gratitude, in a way, gives your mind a reset. It tells your nervous system, you are safe in this moment. You have something to hold on to. This doesn't magically disappear your problems, but it gives you the emotional capacity to handle them without collapsing under the weight. Gratitude also builds emotional resilience, your ability to bounce back from setbacks. When you're faced with a difficult moment, your mind naturally wants to spiral into worry, self-doubt, or negativity. But when gratitude is part of your mindset, it gives you something stable to anchor yourself to. You can look at a painful situation and still say, "This hurts, but I'm grateful I have the strength to get through it." Or, "This is hard, but I'm grateful for the people supporting me." Or even, "I'm grateful for the lesson this challenge is teaching me." This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means balancing them. Gratitude helps you hold pain and hope at the same time. It prevents you from falling into hopelessness because it reminds you that not everything is falling apart. Even if one part of your life feels heavy, another powerful benefit of gratitude is that it shifts your internal dialogue. Most people are harder on themselves than they would ever be on someone else. They criticize themselves, pressure themselves, compare themselves, and judge themselves endlessly. This creates mental exhaustion and emotional heaviness. When you practice gratitude, you slowly begin to change the way you talk to yourself. Instead of saying, "I'm not doing enough," you start noticing the effort you're already giving. Instead of saying, "Everything is going wrong," you start seeing what's going right. Gratitude builds self-compassion because it helps you acknowledge your growth, your resilience, and your small wins. When you appreciate yourself more, Your confidence grows naturally, not from ego, but from recognition of your own progress. Gratitude also improves your emotional clarity. When your mind is full of stress or fear, it becomes difficult to see situations clearly. Emotions feel bigger than they are, decisions feel heavier, and everything feels urgent. Gratitude slows down your mental pace. It grounds you in the present moment, helping you step out of emotional fog and into emotional awareness. You start being able to differentiate between what you can control and what you can't, what truly matters and what is draining your energy unnecessarily. Gratitude clears mental noise, making room for wisdom, calmness, and better judgment. Another aspect of emotional health that gratitude profoundly impacts is your relationship with uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and uncertainty often triggers anxiety. But gratitude teaches you to find stability in what is certain, even if it is small. The morning sun, a warm drink, a kind word, a moment of peace. These small certainties act like emotional anchors. When the future feels blurry or unstable, gratitude reminds you that you still have pieces of your life that are steady, comforting, or meaningful. This reduces anxiety and builds emotional security. Even during difficult seasons, gratitude also helps release emotional heaviness from the past. Sometimes your mind keeps replaying old wounds, failures, or disappointments, creating a loop of emotional pain. Gratitude doesn't deny those experiences, but it reframes them. It helps you see what those moments taught you, how they shaped you, or what they revealed about your strength. Gratitude offers emotional closure. It shifts your focus from, "Why did this happen to me?" to, "What did I gain, learn, or overcome because of it?" This is one of the most healing forms of emotional transformation because it restores your sense of empowerment. One of the reasons gratitude feels therapeutic is because it interrupts emotional autopilot. Most people move through their day reacting unconsciously, repeating the same thoughts, the same worries, and the same emotional patterns without realizing it. Gratitude brings awareness. It slows you down long enough to notice the good, acknowledge your growth, and reconnect with your deeper self. It brings your attention back to the present moment, and the present moment is where healing and peace actually exist. Ultimately, gratitude is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about strengthening the parts of yourself that help you handle life when it isn't. It builds your emotional foundation. It makes you mentally stronger, more grounded, and more understanding of yourself. It helps you navigate stress, uncertainty, relationships, and personal growth with more clarity and less chaos. Gratitude teaches you that even when life is challenging, your mind doesn't have to be. It gives you the inner strength to stay balanced, compassionate, and hopeful. And that is the heart of true emotional health, the power of gratitude rituals. How small daily practices shape your happiness, behavior, and long-term growth. Gratitude is not just a feeling you experience when something good happens. It is a discipline, a daily ritual, and a conscious practice that can reshape your emotional world from the inside out. When gratitude becomes part of your daily routine, it stops being just a positive thought and starts becoming a lifestyle. Gratitude rituals act like emotional training sessions. They teach your mind to pause, notice, and appreciate instead of rushing, reacting, or complaining. They help you take control of your inner environment in a world that constantly tries to influence your mood, your pace, and your attention. These rituals are powerful because they transform gratitude from something you occasionally remember to something your brain automatically leans toward. And when gratitude becomes automatic, your entire life experience begins to shift. Your mood becomes steadier, your relationships deepen, your stress reduces, and your ability to stay centered grows stronger. What makes gratitude rituals so effective is their simplicity. They don't require a dramatic life change. They require intention. A gratitude ritual can be as small as writing down 3 things you're thankful for each morning, sending one appreciation message a day, or taking a moment before sleep to reflect on what brought you peace. These tiny practices send a signal to your nervous system that you are safe, that there is good in your life, and that you are not living in chaos or danger. They remind your brain that it doesn't have to operate in survival mode all the time. Over time, these rituals recondition the mind. They weaken the grip of negativity bias and create new emotional pathways that become stronger each time they're repeated. Think of gratitude rituals as mental exercise. The more you do them, the stronger and more stable your emotional resilience becomes. One of the most powerful gratitude rituals is the morning practice. The way you start your day heavily influences the rest of it. If you begin your day with stress, checking your phone, worrying about tasks, rushing through routines, your body immediately enters a reactive state. But if you start your day with gratitude, even for just 1 minute, you activate a calmer, more grounded mentality. You set the emotional tone before the world has a chance to. This is why morning gratitude rituals help reduce anxiety and sharpen focus. They give your mind something positive to hold on to, something stable to revisit throughout the day. Whether it's writing a gratitude list, taking a moment to appreciate your breath, or acknowledging the blessings in your life, these habits create emotional momentum that lasts. Evening gratitude rituals are equally transformative, but in a different way. At night, your mind tends to replay the day, sometimes with stress, regret, or overthinking. Gratitude interrupts that cycle. An evening ritual helps your mind settle by closing the day with awareness rather than worry. It allows you to reflect on what went well, what you learned, and what you can release. This is not just emotional comfort, it is psychological hygiene. It clears your mental space, reduces overthinking, and prepares your nervous system for deeper, more restorative sleep. People who practice nighttime gratitude often experience fewer intrusive thoughts and better emotional recovery, because gratitude dissolves mental clutter before it turns into stress. Another powerful gratitude ritual is expressing appreciation to others. Whether it's a simple thank you, a thoughtful message, or a short compliment, expressing gratitude creates emotional connection. It strengthens bonds, nourishes relationships, and increases the feeling of belonging for both you and the other person. These small acts of gratitude ignite positive emotional exchanges. When you thank someone, you activate their sense of value, and in return, your own sense of warmth and connection grows. This creates a ripple effect. Positive energy spreads, tension decreases, and communication becomes gentler. Making this a daily ritual, expressing one genuine appreciation to someone, can dramatically improve your social and emotional well-being. Another ritual that holds deep emotional power is gratitude journaling. When you write things down, you anchor your feelings in reality. Journaling helps you slow down, observe your emotions, and transform fleeting thoughts into meaningful reflections. It becomes a safe space for emotional expression, where gratitude can coexist with sadness, confusion, or overwhelm. Gratitude journaling teaches you that you can be struggling and grateful at the same time. This emotional flexibility is crucial, because gratitude is not a replacement for difficult feelings, it is a companion to them. Journaling also helps you notice patterns: what brings you joy, what drains you, what supports you, and what needs to change. It becomes a form of emotional clarity, guiding you toward healthier choices and a more intentional life. Some gratitude rituals don't involve writing or speaking at all. They involve presence. These are moments when you pause, breathe deeply, and appreciate something simple: the sky, your home, your body, a moment of silence, or the feeling of peace. Mindful gratitude rituals help calm your nervous system instantly. They pull you out of overthinking and bring you into your senses: sight, sound, touch, breath. These rituals strengthen your ability to be present, and presence is one of the greatest sources of inner peace. When you develop the habit of noticing the small good things happening around you, you no longer feel like life is rushing past you. You feel connected to it. The beauty of gratitude rituals is that they are deeply personal. There is no perfect formula. Some people love journaling, others prefer speaking it out loud, meditating, or sharing gratitude with someone they love. What matters is consistency. Gratitude rituals become powerful not because they are dramatic, but because they are repeated. They shape your emotional patterns the same way small drops of water eventually carve stone. Each ritual reinforces a message: there is good here. Over time, your mind begins to operate from that place, even during stress, uncertainty, or disappointment. But perhaps the most important role of gratitude rituals is how they shape your identity. When you practice gratitude daily, you start seeing yourself as someone who appreciates, someone who notices, someone who values the present moment. You begin to embody calmness, optimism, and emotional strength. This identity shift affects your choices, relationships, communication style, and even your inner dialogue. You become less reactive, more thoughtful, and more intentional. You stop waiting for happiness to come from outside and begin generating it from within. Gratitude rituals turn emotional stability into a way of being, not just a temporary feeling. In the end, gratitude rituals are not just habits, they are investments. They build emotional wealth, inner peace, and long-term resilience. They teach you how to stay grounded in chaos, how to find light in difficulty, and how to protect your happiness in a world full of distractions. When practiced consistently, these rituals don't just make your days better, they make you better. They strengthen your character, deepen your awareness, and allow your joy to grow from a place of truth rather than circumstance. And that is the ultimate power of daily gratitude. How gratitude transforms your outlook on life, turning ordinary days into meaningful, fulfilling experiences. Gratitude is more than a habit, more than a mindset, and more than an emotional practice. It is a lens through which you begin to see life differently. When gratitude becomes part of how you move, think, and interpret the world, your entire outlook on life changes in profound, lasting ways. You stop looking at life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that grows with you. You shift from survival mode to appreciation mode. You begin to recognize the beauty in the ordinary, the lessons in the difficult, and the gifts in the things you once overlooked. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances overnight, but it changes the meaning you extract from those circumstances. And meaning is what determines happiness, resilience, and long-term fulfillment. The truth is, many people are living their lives with a mindset shaped by scarcity and comparison. They focus on what's missing, what's wrong, what hasn't happened yet, or what others have that they don't. This mindset creates emotional pressure, dissatisfaction, and unhappiness. When you're always reaching for the next goal or the next improvement, you forget to appreciate the things you once prayed for. Gratitude disrupts this cycle. It teaches you that life does not have to be perfect to be appreciated. It reminds you that you already have moments worth celebrating, experiences worth honoring, and blessings worth holding close. When you shift from, "I need more," to, "I am thankful for what I have," you break free from the mental trap of constant dissatisfaction. Gratitude also transforms your outlook by helping you appreciate the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. People often wait to feel happy until they accomplish something. A relationship, a job, a financial milestone, a personal goal. But when you practice gratitude, you begin to find meaning in the process itself. You start noticing your progress, your efforts, your growth, and your inner strength. You realize that life is not a collection of achievements, but a series of moments that shape you. Gratitude helps you slow down enough to notice those moments. It reminds you that fulfillment doesn't come from finally arriving somewhere, it comes from becoming someone along the way. One of the most powerful ways gratitude shifts your outlook is by helping you reinterpret challenges. Life is unpredictable. It will bring seasons of struggle, disappointment, or uncertainty. A negative mindset sees these moments as proof that life is unfair, but gratitude sees them as opportunities for growth, redirection, or awakening. This doesn't mean you pretend pain is pleasant. It means you understand that even difficult experiences hold meaning. They build resilience, reveal your strength, clarify your values, and often push you towards something better. Gratitude turns adversity into wisdom. It teaches you to look at challenges and ask not, "Why is this happening to me?" but, "What is this teaching me?" This shift alone can transform your mental and emotional world. Another profound effect of gratitude is how it reshapes your relationship with time. Many people spend their lives either replaying the past or worrying about the future. They miss the only place life actually happens, the present moment. Gratitude grounds you in the now. It trains you to notice what is in front of you. The warm light in your room, the food you're eating, the conversation you're having, the breath that keeps you alive. Gratitude turns the present moment into something meaningful, instead of something you rush past. And when you live more in the present, life feels richer, deeper, and more connected. You stop chasing happiness in the future, because you start feeling it in the present. Gratitude also changes the way you see people. When you begin appreciating others, their presence, their kindness, their support, their impact, you build stronger connections. But even beyond relationships, gratitude helps you see the good in humanity. It reminds you that despite challenges, there are still people who care, who help, who love, and who give. This shift in perception helps you move through the world with less judgment and more compassion. You become more patient, more understanding, and more open-hearted. Gratitude softens your edges and strengthens your humanity. Another powerful transformation happens in your self-perception. Gratitude helps you appreciate not just your life, but yourself. You start recognizing your efforts, your progress, your strengths, and your uniqueness. Instead of constantly criticizing yourself or comparing yourself to others, you begin to value who you are becoming. You start acknowledging your resilience, your ability to survive difficult times, your small victories that once went unnoticed. This builds self-respect and inner confidence. Gratitude shifts your internal dialogue from, "I'm not enough," to, "I'm grateful for how far I've come." That shift can change your entire life. Gratitude also teaches you how to find joy in simplicity. Most people believe happiness requires big moments, a big achievement, a big purchase, a big event. But gratitude helps you notice the small joys that make daily life meaningful. The taste of your favorite drink, the comfort of your home, the laughter of someone you love, the softness of your bed, the warmth of sunlight. When you learn to appreciate small moments, your life feels fuller. Because those small moments happen every day, happiness becomes something accessible, not something distant. Another major shift gratitude creates is in your long-term vision. When you start appreciating your life as it is, you also begin to see what truly matters for your future. Gratitude clarifies what you want more of: peace, love, health, meaningful relationships, passion, purpose, not just material success or external validation. This makes your long-term goals more authentic, more aligned, and more grounded in truth. Gratitude doesn't make you complacent, it makes you intentional. You stop chasing goals that drain you and start pursuing goals that fulfill you. At its deepest level, gratitude changes your outlook because it reconnects you with the essence of life. It reminds you that life is not just about what you achieve, but about how you live, how you love, how you grow, and how you appreciate the moments you're given. Gratitude opens your heart. It elevates your spirit. It turns ordinary days into sacred ones, and it brings meaning, peace, and joy into places where you once felt emptiness or frustration. In the end, gratitude transforms your outlook on life because it transforms you. It teaches you to live with awareness, appreciation, and intentionality. It makes your life feel richer, even before anything changes externally. It allows you to see beauty where you once saw nothing, opportunity where you once saw struggle, and blessings where you once saw burdens. Gratitude is not just a practice. It is a way of living that turns your entire life into something worth cherishing every single day.